What's funny is that like I still want to get much better at the whole ego thing, but you can like recognize it's like when I played basketball, there's a lot of ego a lot of times, especially when you got like younger guys on the court.
I'm
And that happened
sure.
yesterday. It was just like, this one kid where it's like you couldn't say anything because it affected you, like, it obviously like poked his ego.
Yeah.
Nothing that like in
Wasn't
any way, shape, or form could be a good play against him was allowed to be said. It's like,
wasn't
dude, and I literally said this. I'm like, yo, you guys literally need to relax with the egos. Like, we're just playing ball. Like
the Jocko Willing thing that you were saying, doesn't like the whole first chapter, doesn't he talk about some event in like Afghanistan or something that went wrong and
that's his other book.
People got killed.
Yeah, I don't know. He's got two books. The one I'm reading is called Discipline is Freedom.
Oh yeah.
Which is like, for me personally, like grabbed my attention. Like that was total clickbait for me since I'm like all about freedom, but like
I also need discipline to get that freedom.
Schedule. And I mean, it's not even like
extreme. Mine was extreme ownership. That's the one where he says people got killed and his superiors were saying it's not your fault, and he actually goes into, yes, I take full ownership of it and therefore I can improve it.
The ego, it gets a lot of smack talk. There's a lot of people who are like, you got to kill the ego. I like what you said, Mike. You got to push the ego aside, because I wouldn't be building Millionaires if it wasn't for some level of ego in there.
You can be value. Yeah, that's cool. It's nice to hear that, because sometimes people don't realize that it actually does move you in the right direction. Yeah, it's cool.
There's a place. I say it at my house when I'm by myself. My ego is strong. I'm like, what could I do? What could I do to change the world? What could I do to have an impact? So that's very egocentric. And then when obviously I'm in front of people, I've already made the commitment to serve people. So I'm there and I'm serving, and it's whatever they need, whatever their demand is, whatever their pain is, whatever their pleasure is. And I just move from pain to pleasure. But ego is the one that got me out of bed. Ego's the one that got me like excited about the day.
We need to have Dr. Terry Wager on for this program. Calls it the eliminator of great opportunities, but I bet you he has a real opinion about what you said, that it does drive people to get out of bed.
Terry and I have talked about the ego before. He has this belief, it's like, you can't kill the ego. Like he said, he's like, you can't kill the ego. It's more like, you don't want to kill, like a snake wouldn't want to kill its venom. It's going to need that venom at some point. Or the ego is like a wolf. Like it's your companion. It's there for you, but you can't let the wolf run the show. But in a situation where you need that wolf to be in place, it's there to protect you. It's there to, guide the way a little bit.
All right, now we don't need Terry to come on.
Yeah, he said it's like, you don't want to kill it. You just want to tame it. You want to tame the ego so it serves you instead of controlling you.
Yeah, there's some definite drive about that. I've noticed in my, Mitch, before we got on, was talking about basketball and stuff like that. I noticed when I play Ultimate Frisbee, when people would insult my ability to play or, make fun, that was what would drive me. I would go to Harvard Stadium and run the stadiums in the middle of winter with like snow on the stadiums. And that would be what would be in my, like, you. Next time we're out on that field and there's a disc that goes up, I'm gonna go get it. So,
well, you know what? It's funny that you say it, because obviously playing sports, same thing with basketball, putting in the extra time, blah 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 blah. And it's all motivated by the I'm gonna show you, which in the end, was kind of the driving force behind Michael Jordan.
Right?
Like he's sort of a bitter man in that, like you say, like anyone say anything bad, he's like, okay, I'll show you, and then like he would dedicate his life to that. And it's like, all right,
Tom Brady,
success, but also, is that a joyful life?
Tom Brady too. We said he wasn't good enough, that he had to fight for his position in Michigan. He was 6th round draft. So.
Yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger says it. He says, like, I love when somebody tells me that it's not possible, because then when I do it, I prove it's possible. I'm the first one to do it.
That was awesome. That was really good.
But that was also like what fueled me when I was a real estate agent. I used to go to all the different houses, thinking about my ex-wife is, thinks I can't be successful. She, doesn't believe in me. And I'm going to go and I'm going to get every sign on the freaking main city, on the main streets. So that every time she has to drive down the main street, she's going to see my sign, see my sign, see my sign. And then she's going to see like how successful I've become. And that drove me for a while.
Yeah. Which is funny though, because
are you happy in the end? Like Mitch was
didn't make me happy.
Listen,
so, Mike.
That vindictive motivation can definitely get things done, but it's not a happy place.
Right.
No, and that was the thing I learned, was I was working from a place of proving myself, a place of I'll show you. And so every dollar I made forced me to show somebody else, prove again, prove again, prove again. So if you look back at my videos 7 years ago, it was heavy ego. I was super scarce mindset, like attack anybody.
And a coonskin cap.
Anything to get attention, right?
I can't believe I'm friends with a guy that used to wear one of those hats.
I think like Ron actually said that every day. I wore the thing every day for almost a year, 6 months, a year. The entire time we filmed Fall Over Hustle, wore that the entire time.
You were peacocking.
By the way, just to add to what you were saying, you're out there and you're doing this, and maybe there's no joy in it, but you're proving it. The other person isn't even affected by it at all.
Nope.
Like it's like when they say resentment is a poison you take hoping that it makes the other person sick. It's like you're sitting there going, I'm doing this and then they'll know, and meanwhile they're off in like Tahiti like doing their own thing.
You know what's crazy about all this though, like again, the only positive side of that is it actually is like in terms of a motivator, in terms of keeping like you driven towards something, right? Even if it is kind of with negative energy. I mean, I kind of grew up with that same mindset, like chip on my shoulder, because like I was the broke kid, I was this kid, I was didn't have it. Like I'm like, screw this. Like, when we're adults, I'm basically going to be on top. It was like I was on the bottom as a kid, like I'm gonna basically be on top. But on the flip side is that when you lose that, it's like, wait, do you still have motivation? Like my biggest thing is like, I don't care anymore. Like life is good. Like I give a rat's ass what people think, blah, blah, blah. But I also find myself way less driven and motivated than I was back when I had that chip on my shoulder. So it's like, how do you replace that with like, I guess, good motivating energy? And I mean, there's plenty of stuff, but that's been my personal struggle in terms of being like driven and motivated now that I'm in like a comfortable place in life. And it's more so about like not really out there like to prove stuff to people. Like it was always, I'm going to do this to be like, just show that like I'm awesome. Like I'm over that.
Hey, read Jen Sincero's "You Are Badass."
Well, I'm listening to that.
She actually addresses that.
Okay, yeah, because that's the biggest thing I found is that like I've lost my motivation. Like people think I'm ambitious and I do a lot of things and I still get things done, but for me, I look at like the last 10 years and like that guy is lazy compared to the first like 20 whatever 8 years of my life or whatever the math is. But I also lost that anger.
Talking about motivation, I was having this conversation with Dorina this week, and she was kind of questioning like everything that I do. And she does this in love. She loves me. But as a woman living with somebody who's like this ambitious, she is allowed to question things, right?
Let's go to Utah.
So yeah, well, that was her choice. So
balance Walter out, make him go on a spiritual journey.
But awesome. She came to me and she's like, why is it so important to you? And I just told her, I was like, without it, I am fat, I'm unmotivated, I'm unhealthy. I would just sleep with a bunch of women to validate my ego. Like I'm a useless piece of shit without a goal, without like a real tangible challenge in front of me. The challenge may scare and intimidate other people, but for me, it gives me purpose. It gives me meaning because I'm not proving it to anybody anymore. I'm proving it to me. Like every day I wake up and I'm like, is it possible for me to be this impactful in a world? Can I evolve and change the way I talk and speak? Can I create better products? Can I automate the millionaire building process? Can I attract amazing people like you and Mitch? Can I do more of that in my life? And can I maintain these relationships and develop these guys and develop myself along the way? Like that's a challenge every single day to wake up, and it's exciting. I'm just like every day I'm like, oh my God, like could I send them a new quote? Could I read something that inspires me? Or you mentioned Jen Sincero today, Mike. Now I'm like, I've got to go look at this again. I've got to go revisit. You Are a Badass.
But it's funny how because I'm more leaning towards like the Mitch side, where it's kind of like I want to enjoy life, and Jen says in one of her things, it's like the people who make an effort to enjoy their lives. So it's like you sort of sit there and you go, well, I mean, wouldn't it be for you, Mitch? Wouldn't it just be something that gets you so like amped up in a really good way, like that if you see the end result, if you saw like, I don't know what you want, but let's say you wanted to just have a plane, for example, like wouldn't that get you motivated? All right, well, I don't know.
No,
what do you want?
No, actually, Mike, it doesn't even have to be a specific thing. Like it comes down
she's
to
5'8", blonde, German heritage, lives in Delray.
Definitely not German heritage. Brunettes, please. No. So I think it comes back to like last night on the call, we were talking with Neil, and it was just like kind of like if it's not a hell yes, it's a no. And I think that's what it is. Like, what's really the hell yes? And like for Walter, like that's his hell yes, is basically helping hundreds of people become millionaires, right? That's his hell yes. For me, like the reality is my hell yes is just basically investing for myself and just doing that. And that's it. That's the only thing I feel hell yes about. All this other stuff I do, I like to do. I get some enjoyment out of it. I do like helping people and stuff, but none of it's that true hell yes where it's like investing for myself. That's always a hell yes. I love it. Like that's, if someone said you can only do one thing and only one thing, that's the one thing I'm doing.
I guess for me, it would be, since we're talking about this, I think it would be freedom and massive income from passive income. So like when that money, if I see that coming in, that gets me all amped up to have the freedom to go. I don't know. I get really excited. Like this is going to sound kind of silly, but like I got on my mountain bike today and went for a ride, and that freedom feels like so good to me. Like, it's like wait, I have this life and money's coming in, but I can still go out in the wood in the morning. I love that.
And it is priceless. Freedom.
Freedom,
People are like, freedom isn't free. No, it may not be free, but it is priceless.
Yeah,
it is. And there's different levels of freedom, but like most people think of freedom as financial freedom. That's not freedom. That's financial freedom. That is like a proponent to maybe having freedom, but you could have freedom even without that, based on your outlook and your mindset. But even financial freedom, like there's different levels of that, like we've spoke about that before. Like I basically, I'm lean fire, the financial dependence retire early. And the only thing that really drives me sometimes is I'm like, well, I'd like to be fat fire. You know what I mean? Like I want to have that next level money so I can do like the really generous stuff. Like now it's like, I live a regular life. I have regular, fun, but it's internal struggle, wanting more, but not wanting to really,
Is this our subtle hint that we have to sign off?
I was just hanging out until Ron showed up.
I want to relate to that, Mitch, because I was lean fire when I was living in Vegas. I was lean fire when I first retired at 30. And then I realized like I didn't have enough money to live the way these guys were living. So I came back, I built my businesses up. I became a millionaire by 32. And at millionaire status, I knew like I was protected, but it wasn't enough. Like it's still like I was able to retire a little bit better, but I came back and then at 34, multimillionaire status, I have decided not to fully retire, but create a life that gives me the experiences that I want, where I'm paid to travel, I'm paid to be in front of people, and I have a life of meaning. But every person I talk to ends up being a business, another stream of income, another way of building millionaires, a way of, leaving an impact on the planet, which is important to me, like
I just wonder if, when you get to multi-million, then you want a little bit more, and then you want a little bit more, and then you went, well, I really could be comfortable a little bit more. And then I just remember Heidi Rain speaking at one of the events saying that she used to work with people who had 300 million and they still weren't satisfied. So it's sort of
and that's
a
one
game
of those
that keeps growing on itself,
Right,
like level one
exactly.
of any game you play, like you can play at level 1, but you got like a wooden sword and it's really frustrating. You can't kill big stuff.
We're just in a simulation and this is just a video game.
In a lot of ways, I have a hard time believing anything otherwise.
Just getting up to level 5.
I used to play these games. I used to play Skyrim. I used to play RuneScape, World of Warcraft, Star Wars Galaxies, like all these different games that were very much about building stuff in a world. And one day I just snapped. I realized, why am I over here like digging up minerals and building armor and then selling the armor and then going back and getting more minerals and selling armor? And I just realized I'm just a salesperson in this digital game. Like, why don't I just do this in the real world?
Yeah, right. That makes sense. No Sim City. You didn't play?
Yeah, Crush Sim City. I used to play.
See, I was never into those games.
Roller Coaster Tycoon, dude. StarCraft. Anything that would allow me to kind of predict the future or have an impact in a meaningful way where shit would be saved. I couldn't keep my hands off of those things.
You didn't like that stuff, Mitt?
I was never into Sim City. Like I was like even like Zelda was about the only game I played a little bit, but
Crush Zelda.
Yeah. Well, I played the sports game. I was very action, short attention span. So Madden NFL, that was my stuff. Even Tecmo Bowl. But I do wish I would have played more of the Sims and things like that, because that literally like you're building stuff, you're thinking out into like the future and how it would. I'm sure it would have helped my real estate investing. So
they got one called City Builder. Century 21 used to have one called Investor Tycoon or Investor Mogul.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that one.
Oh man, I used to have a blast because I could literally practice real life in the game, and I felt like it gave us such an advantage over everybody else who was just living real life and didn't have.
That's the way I feel. Not to bring it to the present, but that's the way I feel about Cash Flow 101.
100%.
I play that game on the computer by myself. It's so simple, but when you do it, you're just blown away at how much it teaches you. You're like a level up from everybody else. It's just amazing. I love that game, Cash Flow 101.
You can see the future because you like understand the repercussions.
Yeah.
You're like,
we actually, one of the things in there is buy a car wash, and we're buying a car wash. No accident.
Ron says this to me all the time. He says, man, like in the rat race, it's all the stuff we've been buying. It's real estate, it's like stocks and crypto. Yeah. Well, crypto's
you have a baby, you get a divorce,
like all this other stuff.
You get a divorce.
He says on the fast track, all businesses. The rich don't buy this little stuff. They only buy businesses. Yep. Like there's a 50-unit complex, right? There's like one piece of real estate on the fast track.
Yeah.
But everything else is business, cash flow.
Crazy how fast the money adds up when you're out of the rat race. It's like
it's just that first
one time around the turn, and you've got like $300,000 more, and then you're at 600,000, and they're like, "Oh, hey, would you like to buy this dry cleaner?" You're like, "Yeah, why not? Why not?
Make that in a week." Whoa. That goes back to Charlie Munger's, his quote, the first 100,000 is a bitch. And he says, do whatever it takes to get that first 100,000. If you got to eat ramen noodles, if you got to, not eat for a week, like, just work 3 jobs, do whatever you've got to do to get that first 100,000. But once you've gotten that, you can pull the gas off a little bit. You can start putting the money to work.
That makes me think that, sometimes doing like the professional thing, like I did being a lawyer, first 100,000 was not a bitch for me because I just did the program.
But did you keep it in the bank? Like the first 100,000 locked into the bank?
Yeah,
that's
just
the
kind of
hard
like
part.
Somebody told me be disciplined and put it into like this kind of account, and you just I think I just bought stocks with it because of my dad. But yeah.
So you did the simple path to wealth, right? Like for you, it wasn't hard, but for most people.
But I took too long. Like you said, you became a millionaire at 32. I did not become a millionaire at 32. So
I hear you, Mike.
That's why I plan to live to be 200 because I'm gonna get that back.
It's ironic. I didn't start the process of becoming a millionaire until the age that Walter was hit multi-million. Like I didn't buy my first real estate property until I was 34. I was too busy day trading, trying to be a millionaire overnight, and wasted 7 years day trading. And then I'm like,
wasn't a waste.
Well, what do you know what I mean? I'm like, but there's got to be a better way to build wealth. Like that creates income, which is active income. And it's a lot of work. Every time that comes to me about day trading, I'm like, don't do it.
Yeah,
same. I say the same.
You said that to me with that description that you're like sitting there staring at your screen all day. Just picture someone in like a dark room. Actually, Walter he could kill it.
This be paradise for me.
Sitting in a dark room and just
I like to sit. No, I'm all for sitting in a dark room by myself, but nope, that is just stress. Day trading is the ultimate psychological warfare.
Oh yeah,
100%.
Oh yeah,
it must make you strong.
I mean, I'm sure it's helped me, and that's why, like, in terms of just investing and charting and all that stuff, it definitely has its positive aspects.
Makes buying something in Gardner easy.
Well, I think it also helps with the crypto mastermind, right? The crypto mastermind is so valuable because of your charting.
Don't sleep. The Gardner blew up, man. Prices are out of control. It's nicer than Fall River.
That guy that I went to see was saying he was buying everything. What, they buy a 64 unit? And I was
they bought a big one in downtown. They're gonna redo, and they got I'm pretty much almost priced out of Gardner at this point.
One of my friends texted me last night. She's a real estate agent in Boston, and she works only with Boston investors, and like that's her play. And texted me, she said, I got a guy, he's pre-approved for 1.6 million. He wants to buy 11 units in Fall River. And for a moment I paused and I was like, when did this happen? When did Boston decide that Fall River 11 units were worth $1.6 million? And I texted her back. I was like, I think you can get 1.2 for it. I took a look at the property, evaluated it. But like, it's just absolutely insane to me that the prices have gotten to where they are. We bought 8 units 2 years ago for $480. We're selling the same 2 units. We haven't done any renovations. We're selling them now for $900,000. $900,000 with no renovations. 2 years have gone by. Cash flow the whole time.
Hey, there's no inflation.
This is insane. This is absolutely insane. And it could keep going up, maybe, but like I don't see, like, the chart is like this right now. When the chart gets aggressive like this, it's just unsustainable.
Oh, absolutely. Prices are going to top out, but that doesn't mean they're immediately going to drop.
No, they're not.
I've noticed that people in our group of friends circles are starting to take money off the table and sell things. You said we're selling. Yeah. We're selling. We are buying new things, but the new things we're getting a really good deal on, or we're not buying.
And I shared with you guys earlier my 2-phase strategy for dispositioning property. Yeah. And we've been dispositioning only for about 5 months now. So we got 3 more phases left. It's a 2-year process. A lot of the bigger investors that I know have been dispositioning for the last 3 years. I mean, they got a lot of real estate. It takes them a long time to disposition some of this stuff.
I totally get that. I got a friend of mine who was buying properties in Woonsocket for 20 grand a door, and then sold them for 45 a door. And now people are buying them for 75 to 80 a door.
Damn, I remember actually keeping Woonsocket.
That same portfolio. I know the portfolio you're talking about, Mike. That portfolio now is going for 100 a door.
Yeah, it's insane.
I was going
to
say,
these are just little ones that I was talking about. Like when I was talking to John Rodriguez, he was saying 75.
Well, that's what John pays for, right? Yeah, John's like us.
Yeah, but if you have like one of those big ones with like 400 and something units, 100 a door. That's Boston. Your realtor in Boston. She'll buy that
all day.
all day.
And twice on Sunday.
Yeah. God bless.
100 Millionaire Summit is coming up October 21st to the 23rd. We're going to be talking about wealth strategies. You're going to build your business plan to make $1 million. We've got influencers. We've got multimillionaires coming in. We've even got one billionaire who will be there. Vinny Smile Chopra will be at the event, speaking with us, sharing his mindset of abundance for syndications. Rod Cleef will be there talking about, again, mindset and syndications and the technicals. We've got Liz Faircloth from Invest Her will be at the 100 Millionaire Summit this year with her tribe of women who are investing in real estate. We've also got Ken Walls, who's friends with Grant Cardone and many other famous billionaires. In fact, he's connected us with multiple billionaires thanks to his connections he's made over the years. We've got our 8 coaches, the millionaire coaches, celebrity coaches from the Alchemist Mentorship will be at the summit, delivering training, speaking, taking selfies.
It's impressive.
Powerful.
How much does the stack cost?
You can find out the prices at 100mmsummit.com. Click the link in the bio.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
If you gain some value from us talking about our strategies and wealth principles, share, like, subscribe, send us out to some of your friends, drop it in groups. Groups are the best. They like our content more than your own personal profile. So share it in a real estate investment group and let's spread the world, some knowledge to the world. We're on a mission to build 100 millionaires, inspired to build 100 millionaires. Mitch, how do we do it, brother?
We organize and we collect.
And Mike Shine, what are we looking for?
Happy birthday, Mitch Jaworski. Happy birthday, man.
Happy birthday, Mitch. 44 years old.
44.
We don't talk about this.
Make
Or
sure
according to
we,
video, that would put you at 26, or that put you at 16 years old now.
Yeah, so we massive income from passive income, and I hope you get lots of that on your birthday, Mitch. So there you go.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah.
I'll get as much as I can because then yours is coming.
Yeah, right.
Yours is right up
Boom.
next.
The point is not to work, it's to generate income. Cheers to your success. We have a choice.
Always work with the best. Peace.
See you guys.
Peace.
Later, guys.
Out.
Cheers.
Bye, Ron.
Bye,
Bye,
Ron.